So today we're going to talk about trust and how they fail. So a lot of times people create trusts, and many times the trust that I get after the person who created the trust passes away, I have to bear the bad news to the surviving spouse or the child that this trust is not going to avoid probate, that they still need to get that will and they still need to go to court and there's still going to be probate. And the biggest reason for that is that the trust was created but nothing was put into it. So when you create a trust, you create a box, let's say, and you consider that as a gift. I imagine you gave that big box with the beautiful wrapping, and when your child opens it, there is nothing in it. That's pretty much what you've done when you do a trust and you don't fund it. Not a good thing to do. And the way that we prevent that from happening is by knowing right from the beginning when we create the trust that we are responsible for funding it. When they say trust funding, that sounds really complicated, right? And in some ways it may be complicated depending on the kind of assets you have. But it is fairly simple in one way, and that is that the trust will either own the assets you have that you want to distribute, or will be the beneficiary of the assets you have that you want distributed. Some of the examples of what the trust can own from the very beginning is, let's say, your primary residence. Your house will go into the trust will own it, and the house will be titled under the trust. If you have children who are minor, please do remember that minor children can inherit nothing directly. A trust keeps all these assets in one place with a trustee to make sure these assets are distributed the right way to give and provide for your child until your child is a certain age, or they can actually have it as a lifetime asset protection. And that depends on what you would like to do for your child and how you'd like to design the trust. But in any case, if you don't put anything in that trust, like I said, then you're not giving your child anything, or even your spouse for that matter, whoever your loved one is that's going to get that box after you. So instead of the beneficiary being your wife or your child, you have the trust be the beneficiary, so that your trust gets that asset right after you pass, so that the box is filled at that point in time. Either ways, if you do not do that, if you don't have the trust as a beneficiary or you don't have the trust as the owner, the trust remains empty, which means you have not created a trust that will work. It will fail, and that person is going to go through probate. So make sure when you create your trust that you figure out how to fund it and keep it funded. Anytime you buy a new asset, it needs to go into the trust as well. Anytime you sell something and you buy something new, you need to make sure that the retitling is done the right way. Well, that's all I have for you today, and I'll talk to you later soon. Have a great day, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, then you can book a call right at my website, notanilaw.com.